Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Arrow, episode 503, titled A Matter of Trust, which premiered Wednesday, October 19, 2016 on the CW. Guys, quick reminders before I start. You are getting my first genuine reaction for the new episode as I'm recording this the same night I watched it for the first time, even though this might not be posted until a few days later. Just keep that in mind. So no outside influence has gotten to me as well. Only thing I own are my own thoughts and opinions about in this episode and what I predict is to come. The only thing I really own is if I include an image of my face on there. Otherwise, everything I got from Google, editing for visual appeal. And also, this is just made for fun. No money's being made. So with that said, let's start with the 10-minute clock and let's begin. So something new that we learned in this episode. Pretty much, it's pretty divided, but the main story of the episode had to do with the Stardust drug ring. And so within that, we see Arrow Team 2.0 having some trust issues, mainly between Oliver and Renee Ramirez, aka Wild Dog. Because of this mistrust, Renee is impatient as to being kept out of the field, so he goes by himself, or he brings Evelyn Sharp along, but pretty much he defies Oliver's orders and goes looking for the Stardust dealer, Derek Sampson, which is being played by guest star Cody Rhodes, a wrestler with a few nods to his career without the episode. Anyways, a fight ensues between Renee and Derek, and we get pretty much Derek turning invincible because of it, which draws more problems with that as well. But in a sign of trust, later on in the episode, and after a talk with Felicity about what's holding him back from trusting the team, he puts them in the field where they take on the new Derek together, and they take down his plan of creating more people like him. Pretty much think Slade Wilson wanting to create a Mirakuru army since he was on Mirakuru. So it's kind of like Derek wanting to create an army of invincible men so that he could bring back the city into his own, not liking that Tobias Church came into it. So there is that. They came out the winner. Derek was later arrested, and that is that. Side story now, number 1, showed Felicity's conflictions over Rory Reagan, aka Ragman, being part of the team and his connection to Haven Rock. Eventually, she confesses her involvement in the missile dropping on Haven Rock. That didn't really go so well. Well, he did walk away, but we don't really know how he truly reacted aside from that. Understandable why he walks away. He wants to take a moment to truly listen or hear or understand what she actually just told him, but maybe we'll really get the blowback of it next episode. Side story number 2 is the media storm over the people finding out that Thea had hired Quentin Lance as deputy mayor without Oliver's approval. Through this side story, we see Oliver furious over Thea making that type of decision because he did not want Lance in that position of power. So Thea tries to clean it up, only in the end for Oliver to come around and say that he approved of Thea's actions because as a leader he is taking responsibility for the actions his team makes, and he formally introduces Lance as deputy mayor in front of the media. So there's that story. Side story number 3 was Diggle. He's back in the country, but he's in jail, and through his whole little stint in his little cell, he is in the company of Deadshot, aka Floyd Lawton, as his cellmate, only to turn out, thanks to Lila's confirmation, that Deadshot is actually dead, and Diggle has been imagining him as his cellmate the whole time. And with that ending on Diggle telling Lila to stop fighting for him, he has stopped fighting for himself long ago, and he thinks he truly deserves to rot in prison. So there is that. Flashbacks now. We see Anatoly trying to tell Oliver how the Bratva works. Pretty much saying that once you're a member of the Bratva, you are all brothers. If one fails, you all fail. If one succeeds, you all succeed. They would have each other's backs. They would die for one another and all of that. Oliver's a little hesitant because he thinks that they would kill innocent people, but he truly learns the truth behind all that, and eventually he takes on another initiation step, I believe, by giving his trust to the Bratva brothers and having them slash him over the shoulder blade, I believe. Same spot on his back repeatedly by all of them, showing his trust because they could have easily taken the knife and stabbed him in the back. So there's that for flashbacks. Side note tidbits I wanted to touch upon was that Detective Malone, aka Felicity's secret boyfriend, goes out of his way to warn the Green Arrow about this new archer we know as Prometheus attacking Tobias' church shortly after Tobias' church had almost killed the Green Arrow. So kind of letting me know that this new guy in town is looking out for you because he wants to take care of you for himself type of thing. So there's that. Also, this episode introduced the new district attorney, Adrian Chase. And also, it also introduces the reporter, Susan Williams, who had Thea in a tailspin over kind of not making Oliver as mayor looking good to the people of Star City. So there is that. Now, moving on to most shocking moments of the episode, mainly was the fact that Deadshot was Diggle's cellmate. When I first saw that, I thought, okay, maybe this is something that Flashpoint messed around with. Maybe he is truly alive. But then when he explained when they mentioned the explosion that we last saw him in, where he was teamed up with Cupid, and he explained how he had survived, I thought, okay, maybe not Flashpoint, it is possible that Deadshot was still alive. I mean, they do have a tendency of people coming back from the dead after they've been presumed dead. So there's that, and yet, only for the shocking part to be that Deadshot wasn't even in the cell at all, and Diggle was just imagining him as his cellmate the whole time. So that was surprising in itself, and slightly disappointing because that means Flashpoint did not mess with that at all whatsoever. And what was also surprising that Diggle also wanted to accept his arrest, and he didn't want any help from anybody. And he did mention the fact that he had a son, not a daughter. So there is that. And pretty much anything that happened with Diggle was pretty much a surprise in this episode for me. But moving on, top 3 favorite moments. Definitely, first one has to be the beginning of the episode shows Felicity pretty much giving a lecture to the recruits as Oliver does recon on the Stardust drug ring. Pretty much it was kind of like her teaching the class while someone was doing the demonstration out in the field. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then her own side commentary as to what Oliver should or shouldn't do or what he's known to do was pretty funny in itself. And it was just interesting also to see Rory out of the Ragman rags and actually saying his observations about the team. He's always asking, is this always how it is, or is that normal for you guys? When he learned something new that he didn't, it was like he actually hits you people. Like, the surprise in him was pretty funny as well. Next favorite moment has to be, for me, Oliver's speech to the city about what it means to be a leader, how as a leader he's taking responsibility, and how he is pretty much taking on any of the actions the members of his team makes. Not only does it say it to the city as his position as mayor, but then you see it cut to the team, the Arrow team, watching it from the cave, and actually getting the underlying message that as a team leader of the Vigilantes, the same thing applies to them as well. Also, a little known thing that also surprised me, I forgot to mention, though, was the fact that Oliver and Felicity showed the recruits the Arrow Cave. Last episode, I thought where they were training was a part of the Arrow Cave already, but it turns out that that was another location. So that was surprising as well for me, because this whole time I thought it was the same location since it was kind of still set up the same way. So there was that. And also the fact that Felicity had her own computer station while in that training area is kind of what made me think that they were just in another part of the Arrow Cave. So anyways, next favorite part of the episode for me has to be Oliver versus Derek, aka Stephen Amell versus Cody Rhodes. That whole fight scene right there, I really liked it. Not only because it was mainly hand-to-hand combat, true strength and strategy, but what I really liked about it, and it's going to sound really gross, was the fact that Oliver's decision on how to stop Derek, because while Derek is invincible, he doesn't feel any pain, so none of Oliver's arrows are going to work. No really hard punch is going to do anything. But when Oliver severs Derek's tendons, cutting off the blood supply to where they need to go, and then Derek boasting about how that doesn't hurt him, and then Oliver explains it doesn't matter if it doesn't hurt you, you still need to use those limbs, and he pretty much cut off the blood supply to those limbs. And when Derek tried to move to attack, with that severed limb showed that he couldn't move it, he couldn't do with it like he wanted to. So I really liked that, not because of the grossness behind it, but because of how smart of a move it was in Oliver's favor. So I really liked that as well. It really showed how methodical he was, and it really showed how he knew where to hit in order to get the most damage done in this aspect. He really needed that, so that's why I liked it as well. Last favorite moment for me has to be Curtis's immediate concern for Felicity once he learned that Rory was connected to Haven Rock. The moment that Curtis learned that Rory's hometown was Haven Rock, Curtis immediately looked to Felicity, and he kind of tried and failed kind of on blowing Rory off so that he can stay behind and help Felicity. And then he immediately runs to her side and asks her, "Are you okay?" And he wants her to talk about the whole missile drop and everything like that. So I really liked how he immediately brought on, there's a timer, I don't know how to say it. I really liked how he immediately connected the fact that Rory's presence is affecting Felicity because of the guilt she has from his hometown being destroyed, if that makes sense. Anyways, moving on to top 3 Peach moments very quickly since the timer went off. The suits of Curtis and Evelyn. I mean, I get that they're starter suits, but the whole point of a mask is to conceal your identity, not just your eyes, and then have the rest be fully exposed. I mean, Rory's suit with all the rags covering him from head to toe and his face, that serves the purpose of hiding his identity. You don't even know if he's a guy or a girl under there. You don't even know if he's young or if he's old under there. You have no idea who is under those rags with his suit. And then same with Wild Dogs and his hockey mask. Yes, okay, I can't remember if he wears a hood to cover up his hair or anything, but at least the hockey mask covers up his face. You can't tell what color eyes he has. You can't tell whether he's young or old or not. And if he has a hood, then that serves better purpose because then you can't tell what hair color he has. Then that's okay. But with Curtis and Artemis, no. Their hair is exposed. Their eye sockets are pretty much exposed, understandably, but they make it so easy. And then that's it. The only thing they really cover is the area around their eyes. Maybe their nose will be covered, but that's it. With technology today, it's very easy to take away something from a picture and put in substitution. All someone really needs is to find a way to digitally remove the thin veiled mask on their face, and that's it. They have their identity. So it really bugs me that even as a prototype, that's what they go with. I mean, they're better off just wearing a ski mask like Diggle did for season 3. I mean, you're not really doing anything if all you're really doing for Evelyn is putting her hair in a ponytail and then just sticking on a Halloween mask that doesn't even, like a masquerade Halloween mask. It doesn't even cover your full face. It doesn't even cover most of what it's covering. So that's what really bugged me because, like, mask or not, I could pretty much tell you're a teenage girl. Mask or not, I could pretty much tell you're a tall guy with short hair and your color of your hair. The fact that you probably, yeah. It just, no. It doesn't work. Even as a prototype suit, it does not work. So, there's that. Moving on, though, what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? Felicity's speech to Oliver about what it means to be a leader, and then Oliver giving out a similar speech to not only his recruits, but to the media about what it means to be a leader, and how he's taking that on and truly making those steps. So there's that. As well as Diggle's little cellmate being dead shot for a bit. That one I will remember too. Random questions very quickly. One, is there something more to Diggle thinking that Deadshot was alive and as his cellmate? Was it more than just him think, I don't know how to say it, but like since Deadshot was attached to being the killer of Andy for so many years, only for him to realize that Andy was alive and then he became the killer of his own brother. It's just, was there more behind it than the guilt, or was it like something I don't know. Was there more to it is what I'm asking. Next question. Will there be a rivalry between Thea and Susan the reporter? Kind of looked like it at the very end, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But next question. Will we see Derek Sampson again? Can he still be kicked, or can he still be killed if he ever came to that scenario, since he still doesn't feel any pain? Or did they somehow reverse that after arresting him? Last question. How is Rory going to react to Felicity's confession about her involvement with Haven Rock's destruction? Will he jump to conclusions? Will he ask for more of an understanding? Will he just blow her off? I have no idea, since it was covered at the end of the episode, but she definitely did not react well, and she was definitely flooded in her guilt. So there's that. Moving on to predictions very quickly, though. Based off the promo for 504, it looks like Oliver plans to break Diggle out of prison, but the recruits don't agree. It looks like things go sideways for Wild Dog while out in the field, and it looks like Church is planning something big. Based off the synopsis, though, it looks like Oliver will team up with Lila to try to break Diggle out of prison, but apparently Felicity finds out about this plan and she doesn't approve of it, and she decides to stay out of it, which is odd. And then apparently Tobias Church launches a deadly assault against the city, which forces Felicity to make a decision on whether or not to send the recruits out to stop him without the Green Arrow. So based off of that and what I guess new questions that come out with, but based off that promo and synopsis, I'm a little stunned as to why Felicity would be against saving Diggle from prison. Doesn't she want to help her friend, essentially someone who she sees as family, out in such a bind like that? I mean, I don't know, that it really surprised me that she would disapprove of that type of plan. And another question, will Rory knowing the truth about Haven Rock bring tension between him and Felicity, or with him and the team? And do Renee and Evelyn know about this at all? So there's that. Otherwise, we gotta predictions. Otherwise, we gotta see Prometheus again. All we know is that he is killing anyone who threatens the Green Arrow. We don't know why he's fixated on the Green Arrow, so we gotta figure out about that. Also, we gotta see how Detective Lance, or I guess Deputy Mayor Lance, takes on his new position. Gotta figure out how Thea deals with everything, as well as trying to keep on the ball with Susan, who tried to tailspin everything out of control. So there's that. But that's about it. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page, follow me there. The link for that is down below. It's also attached to my WordPress account. But through Tumblr, I'll reblog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, and all that. So follow me there if you want to be up to date on that, as well as any other shows I follow through that. And that's been it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys come back and see what I have to say about next week's episode. But until then, this is Mel, wishing you all a great day, great book everywhere. Bye for now.